Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and I like to do this from time to time. I like to talk about what's new in the wonderful DTC dental world. If you don't know what DTC means, direct to consumer, some people call it DIY. I don't like to use that term because, well, we'll get into that, because you're really not doing it yourself. But in any case, why am I qualified to make this video? Well, I think I'm probably the most qualified person to make this video. There is a lot of content out here on this subject. You can go on podcasts, on Spotify, you can Google it. You'll see blogs from various dentists, orthodontists. It is probably the number one most popular topic people like to talk to me about is DTC aligners. So why am I qualified? Well, I kind of helped to start it. So I'm kind of a infamous or famous or not really godmother of DTC aligners. Like me, hate me, whatever, it is what it is. Yes, I did help start SmileDirectClub. I was on their initial startup team. I was the first dentist, first dental director to be with them. They had a few dentist consultants before me, but not an actual full-time dentist helping them out. No, I was not doing treatment plans or anything like that. I was helping with operations, setting up the systems, operations, protocols, procedures, training doctors to come on board to help do the treatment plans, et cetera, et cetera. So in any case, I'm not going to go too much into that just because, I haven't worked for them since 2016. We're on fairly good terms when we see each other, but they're a little litigious, and I have to be very careful what I say, as you're quite aware, because they listen to everything I post and say. So I have to be very careful what I say, and it's not a topic I'll really talk about on podcasts just because I say one thing wrong and I get some letter from their legal team, and I don't want to get sued, and that's not my intent. I'm doing a fine balance between, okay, I'm an orthodontist, I like high quality work, I like a deal, I like comprehensive, I like perfect, and access to care on the other end, which really brought me to help start SmileDirectClub, because I'll kind of give you my 2 cents worth. But back in 2009, 2008, when we had our first recession, now some of you who are millennials are going through your first recession. I went through my first recession as a dentist in the late 2000s, mid 2000s, right when I was out of school, and it was like boom, things really, really changed all of a sudden. Whereas before it was like so not a problem for me to sell an Invisalign case. I was one of the only doctors in the areas doing it, one of the first doctors doing it. I was good at it. I sold them for $7,500 each back 18 years ago. I mean, a long time ago. A lot of money. My braces might have been $5,000, but my Invisalign was $7,500, and I sold. I mean, I had no problem selling them. I loved it. And granted, it wasn't a great product back then, Invisalign, but it was decent enough. I had figured out ways, this is probably what got me hired by SmileDirectClub, but I'd figured out ways because I had a lot of college students, and I had, military people and people who were in very busy jobs. I was working in Silicon Valley area, that traveled a lot, and they'd be like, hey, I can't come back from my appointment for 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, how can I do my braces? I'd be like, no, you can't have braces. You need to do Invisalign, and we'll figure out ways for you to check in remotely. Or even as needed, sometimes I didn't put attachments on the cases, and we did minor cases, took longer without attachments. Boom. That's basically the concept of SmileDirectClub. Like, so I was doing this before SmileDirectClub even was invented. Was it completely perfect? No. Because Invisalign is a terrible product to do attachmentless aligners on, but I'm not going to go into that just because of their trim and their material. If you want to know about that, you can look in my YouTube channel and look up attachmentless aligners. If you don't know how to search within a YouTube channel, go to your YouTube channel, go to the search bar at the top, put in Straightsmile Solutions. That takes you to my YouTube channel, which has over 4,800 videos, I think, to date, like a lot of videos, playlist, everything. I have almost 10,000 followers, growing by the day. Thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate it. It is like a labor of love. I super started doing it during COVID, because everything slowed down in my consulting practice, because everything slowed down in dentistry, right? So anyways, started making just content. I have a lot of things to share, a lot of things to teach. I love to explain and teach. And if you've ever worked in one of my dental offices, my ortho offices, I think I was a pretty good teacher. But anyways, so yeah, look up the attachmentless aligners and how that works. But back to my story, mid 2000 7, 8, 9, I was kind of doing it, right? I was already doing it. I loved it. I realized that I really had a passion for removables. I didn't love doing braces. I mean, I know that sounds really stupid, that you would love orthodontics. You know, even when I was in dental school, 1997, Invisalign, the first founders, Zia Christie, all of them. I mean, these are like infamous people now, you know. They came to talk to us, the UCSF class of 2001, because we were, you know, in the Bay Area, about their new product that they were launching. It's called Invisalign. Align Technology was the company. This is 1997. This is the year they basically were invented. They started up, you know, and people were like, in my class, this is nuts. This is stupid. Braces will never go away. And they were like, we think they will. And hey, 25 years later, look what's happened. So that lecture, I mean, gosh, I wish I took pictures with them. I mean, now woulda, shoulda, coulda. It really influenced me. And I was like, I love ortho. I love everything about ortho. I love growth modification. I love airway. Before this was even really a thing, that was the type of ortho I liked. I had so many family members that had 4x extractions and were suffering with sleep issues. And it's definitely in vogue now to talk about, but it wasn't back then. But that was the type of ortho I liked. I don't like none of this mousetrap, Jimmy Rig, MacGyver stuff. I don't like that stuff. But anyways, back to the story. I like to get off topic. But 2008, 2009 was charging $7,500. All of a sudden, the first set of recessions hit, and boom, all of a sudden, my ortho numbers went in the toilet, you know? Why? Where are they going? Well, I was charging too much, first of all, but overhead is incredible in California, especially for an ortho office. I mean, you've got your, you know, you have to pay these ortho assistants a ton, you know, and they're amazing. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, I was taking almost nothing home. Nothing. I mean, like student loans, nannies at home, house payments, and suffering big time. Why? Well, all these general dentists started doing ortho, and there was one down the street from me who put up a big old billboard on the highway that it was 580, one of these highways heading out past where I was working, and it was like, hey, Invisalign $29.99. I was like, what? No, this is less than half of what I'm charging, and he's just a few miles away. This guy was like top tier. He was jamming Invisalign, and I don't even know if his cases were good. They probably weren't that great, but guess what? People still wanted it. Why? Because it was cheap. Why? Because he basically didn't do full movements. He just moved front teeth and made a slightly more aesthetic look, but he charged it cheap. And I watched what he did. I'm like, okay, if this guy can do hundreds of starts per year and not even make things perfect, why can't I do that? You know, I can at least offer it as an option at a lower price. And then I can still have my comprehensive as well. If you want perfect, you want bites, great, let's do that. Let's offer both options. So I started doing that. I mean, it was hard, because I think a lot of your colleagues are like poo-poo that. They're like, oh, that's wrong, that's bad. Well, I don't have a problem doing that in an adult 18 and over, as long as I have explained the risks, the benefits, and the alternatives. And this is what brought me to the whole DTC aligners, which I helped to start up, because I said nothing wrong with this, as long as, and then we talked to plenty of liability insurance companies and stuff like that. And there is, just like with anything that you do in aesthetics or medicine or anything like that, as long as the benefits outweigh the risks and the benefits and alternatives have been thoroughly explained to the patient consents to that, signs, they understand, you can do non-ideal treatment. And it's okay, because you know what? At least 15 years ago, there was very few people doing aligners, and they were entire remote areas of the US, at least in our research, that had zero representation for aligners and tons of patients that wanted them. Like, if you give, and I can full on tell you this, even 15 years ago when Invisalign wasn't a good product, I found out if I gave, you know, it doesn't matter if they're teens, they're adults, whatever, if I gave same price, I can give you Invisalign or braces and explain what the experience is like, explain the risk, benefits, and alternatives, everyone picks Invisalign. They do. I mean, it's very rare that somebody says they want braces once you explain everything and take the cost issue away. And, you know, back then a little bit more, it wasn't quite as an efficient product, so it wasn't like comparing apples to oranges. Now, for the most part, with a few exceptions, Invisalign in my hands is faster than braces. I'm good with it. I'm good. I can make amazing treatment plans out of Invisalign. And I'm saying Invisalign by the brand because that's what I use most, and that's what I have the most experience with. And I've seen done directly, indirectly, I don't know, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of cases. I mean, a ridiculous amount of cases over my 20 plus year career doing Invisalign. A lot, directly, indirectly, whatever, helping other people. But I feel very confident in my Invisalign skills. So anyways, back to the whole DTC thing. 2014, got a great call from the people that were thinking about starting up something. We were calling it Smile Care Club at the time. Later, we rebranded to SmileDirectClub for a variety of reasons. I won't go into that. But yeah, I mean, the goal was access to care, a lower, more affordable product for people who just want social 6 movements, improvements of front teeth only, not bite correction. No, there's no attachments. No, there's no IPR, so can't take all the cases. Yes, relying on the patients to be honest, go to their dentist and ask those questions. Have I had a periodontal exam? Am I perio clear? Do I have oral cancer? Please check me. And legitimately, most patients are very honest and they do their paperwork properly the way it's intended. It is very much on, I would say, on the honor code. You know, patients need to be honest. And of course, there's probably shady patients out there that lie and don't do what they need to do. But what goes around comes around. I mean, it is what it is. I don't feel sorry for you if you get a bad outcome when you lied. So anyways, I don't represent anything that SmileDirectClub says or does or anything like that. I'm just giving you, as a practitioner, my own opinion on why I don't think it's wrong. So I'm, if anything, I'm being pro DTC aligners in what I'm saying, because I don't think they're doing anything wrong. And that is my true belief. Everyone has a choice. Okay. So it's always good to have access to care and have, and you know, initially Invisalign had monopolized the market, and now look with DTC aligners coming out. Now there's 20 different aligner brands out there, and most general dentists can do aligners, and most pediatric dentists can do aligners, and it's very easy to find aligners near your house. If you want the whole no contact virtual experience, you can have that kind of aligners. If you want the in-office experience, you can have those type of aligners. And yes, the price point is all over the place. I mean, I can go to one office and get aligners for $1,800. Maybe they're in-house, 3D printed, non-branded, whatever, that's fine. White label, if you're an easy case, nothing wrong with that. I can get attachmentless aligners for less than $2,000, and some offices might be $8,000. So, I mean, you got to shop around. It's not all about price. A lot of what comes in aligner cases has to do with the experience of the dentist, setting up a quality treatment plan. Now, I have to warn you, just because your doctor is diamond, double diamond, whatever, you know, doesn't mean they're the ones doing the treatment plan. Hello. Although you may have someone more experienced doing the treatment plan. And a lot of times doctors get together, they collab under one major name, and there's like 30 doctors under this name. And this person that's on your package is not even doing your treatment plan. So, I mean, whatever. Main thing you want to do is you want to look at the treatment plan. I always say, look at the treatment plan before you put a cent down. I don't care if you're doing DTC, you're doing Invisalign at your neighborhood dentist, you're doing Invisalign at the best orthodontist down the street, don't care. Do not put a cent down until you've seen that treatment plan. Now, I know all the DTC companies will give you an animated treatment plan. You can look at it. Now, you can take that treatment plan and you can show it to your own dentist, other orthodontists. You can even come into an ortho office and say, hey, look, I got this from another dentist. What do you think about this? I mean, that's the cool part about it. And they'll give you their honest opinion. Plenty of patients post their treatment plans up on Facebook, get feedback, I mean, from dentist friends and people in the healthcare profession. I mean, I feel like people are pretty educated about it now. And they're like, hey, look, you know, they're pulling out teeth, they're not pulling out teeth, they're doing IPR, they're not doing IPR. I mean, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Ooh, I hate to say that because I have a cat next to me. But more than one way to do things, and not all orthodontists or dentists are going to do it the same way. So find the right plan that's right for you. Make sure you get a second, third, fourth, sixth, 10th opinion. Get that many opinions, because usually consults are free, and you should only pick a doctor, in my opinion, who has a scanner. Because, and it doesn't matter what kind of scanner, some scanners you can only use with one aligner company, some you can't use, you know, but if they're taking traditional impressions, that's a sign to me they're not experienced. So that's not somebody you want to see as a doctor. Goodbye. No, they need to have a scanner, because you're going to need some reboots. Likely you're going to need retainers. No one wants, you know, goopy impressions. It's the whole experience. And it's, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion, it's not, there are more opportunities for errors in an impression than there are from a very high quality digital scan. It's just more thorough. I mean, just like anything else, you take manual measurements versus taking digital measurements. Digital is always more accurate, right? So that would be the first thing. get lots of opinions, get lots of options, show your options to a variety of different dentists and orthodontists, and feel very comfortable with the treatment plan you are given. And if the treatment plan seems like, if you're going to an orthodontist and they're telling you this is going to take 18 months, this is going to take 14 months, and now you have someone's giving you a setup with a Clincheck or a, of only 10 aligners, you know, 2 weeks each, 1 week each, whatever, that's still less than a few months. It's probably not predictable. So you really want to make sure, like I said, compare apples to apples, not apples to oranges. Make sure that you're getting something very thorough and not just quick, rapid, and sloppy, because it's probably not going to happen, if it's unpredictable. Okay, but I still haven't answered the question, what's new, in my opinion, to DTC aligners? Well, some of it's my opinion. Some of it is what's really happening. So we know that there is, and I'm going to be really hesitant to mention names because all these DTC companies are litigious with me. No matter what I post, they say I can't say their name, I can't post their logo, I can't talk about them without their permission. So we do know there's one former DTC aligner company that now is not DTC anymore. It has now gone more doctor directed. I call it more of a hybrid option. They're based in New York. They have a 6-letter name. They may or may not have Simone Biles as one of the Simones. The gymnast, that one, as their influencer. You know who I'm talking about. So they haven't been very nice to me. So I'm not going to be nice to them back, and which is really unfortunate. But they have a pretty nifty way that they're doing things now. I will give them props for that. Whether it'll work or not, I don't know. I actually think the way SmileDirectClub is doing their partner program is better. And I'm not saying that just because one of them's picking on me and one of them's not currently. I just think that for me, if I'm a dentist, a general dentist, I think the SmileDirectClub partner program is actually pretty innovative. I think it's even better if they can give you a scanner. If you don't already have one, if they can come in and train your team, these are a lot of benefits. But whether you do ortho or no ortho, just getting bodies in your office, turning your office into a pop-up scan shop is pretty darn cool to get butts in chairs, bodies in office. Anytime a patient that's not originally your patient comes in your office is an opportunity for you to poach that patient. I'm not talking about for ortho work, although they do say that if SmileDirectClub deems that case as not ideal for SmileDirectClub, you could have the opportunity, doesn't mean you get this patient, to maybe see this patient for other ortho work if you do ortho work. But you also have the opportunity to do the general work at office fees on that patient. Of course, they may have their own dentist. They may not come to you. But the various doctors that I've talked to who are in the SmileDirectClub partner network have been pretty bullish on it, saying that it has really helped to grow their general practice. And those that are doing ortho have been pretty bullish, saying it's helped to grow their ortho practice. Now, for me, I don't know what you have to sign. I've never seen that paperwork. I really don't even want to get into that. I almost feel like it would be better for somebody that doesn't do ortho, because then I think you have zero liability. In my opinion, I haven't read it. I'm not an attorney, but I don't see any way that you would be liable, because all you're doing is taking records. You're not making a judgment call whether or not this patient is adequate for SmileDirectClub. That's on their team, their state licensed ELPs, endorsed local providers. And legitimately, I will tell you, they do have state licensed doctors in every state that are doing the treatment plans. Legit, because that was my job to hire them. And I legit hired them in all 50 states. And it was a lot of work. I was super proud when we got that 50th state, just letting you know. I mean, I don't know what they have now, but back in 2016, 2015, it was legit when I was there. So I will back that up to the day I die. For anyone that says that, they have only techs doing the treatment plans, they don't have doctors looking at every case, that is not true. So, that's just my thought. I think that, yeah, their stock might be in the toilet right now. I'm not going to comment on that, but I mean, people ask me every day, would you buy their stock? And I'm like, okay, I don't have zero inside information, zero. Like I'm friendly with them when I see them at conferences and we're cool, and they haven't tried to sue me lately. And I don't think that they should, to be honest, because I'm very positive about what they do. But I think their partner program, if executed the right way, now whether they're executing it the way I would do it is a different topic. I probably would do it a lot different. But I think that it could really blow up way more than the 6-letter word out of New York. I don't think they're doing things the right way. So sorry. Pays to be nice to me. But in any case, I'm pretty bullish about SDC. That's all I'm going to tell you without giving you insider information because I have none. But I think there's still huge opportunities because there's so much desire. I mean, these DTC companies, whether it be Byte or some of these other smaller ones, if you even Google search one time for Invisalign aligners, it's going to blow up your Facebook, blow up your Instagram for months, telling you about all this. And it's always in your head, right? And then, you go to your local dentist and if the local dentist is smart, they're bringing this up and they're screening every patient for ortho. You should, because it's standard of care, and airway and sleep and everything else, and oral cancer. That's all standard of care. And they may say, hey, what do you think about SmileDirectClub for my case? And that gives you an opportunity to perhaps get a new patient for ortho. But if your prices are too high, $6,000, $7,000, they're going to go to SmileDirectClub. They're not going to go to you. So this is why you need to have multiple options, a multiple menu of services of options in your practice so that you can get some of these patients that are just looking for anterior only alignment, that are good candidates for attachmentless aligners. There's a lot of people who are looking for that experience. So anyways, free marketing, I can tell you, my husband's a general dentist. He has zero problems with SDC. Why? Because patients come in all the time talking about it. He's had some patients do it. And actually, the cases that we've seen of his, he didn't do the SDC. They just happened to have independently gotten SDC and they see him for hygiene and stuff. But, he'll snap pictures on him, be like, hey, what do you think about this? Some of them are freaking amazing. Like, you probably only see the bad cases that people post up on Facebook. I mean, especially if you're a dentist, I see them all the time in these various Facebook groups. I'm like, okay, that is pretty bad. But you can't make a judgment call because you don't know the full story. First of all, you don't know if this patient was even compliant, okay? They maybe didn't wear their aligners at all. They might have only worn them halfway. If you wear things only half-ass, then you're not going to get a good outcome. So you don't know that without having all the information. Plus, they may have had a hard case and maybe they were okay with having an improved only option, which maybe doesn't look great to you because it's maybe not perfect, but maybe that's what they agreed with and they had their risk benefits and alternatives explained. So I don't think you should be making a snap judgment because I see terrible ortho cases every single day in my consulting practice, the ones that make me super mad, and they're a heck of a lot worse than the bad ones I've seen posting with SmileDirectClub. Just saying. So no. I really don't have anything negative to say about SDC or any other direct-to-consumer aligner because you can't make a judgment call unless you've seen the whole records. And yes, I've been an expert witness before, expert opinion, for various stuff with dental boards and other litigious stuff way back when. And, yeah, you have to look through everything, to do your due diligence to see really who's at fault here if there is a bad outcome. And the first thing we look at was risk, benefits, and alternatives explained, Is it a compliance issue or was it the doctor just not doing things right? So you can't tell from 1 to 5 pictures or a quick visit in your office exactly what happened. So that's pretty much what I wanted to get at. Do I think there's huge opportunities still for DTC aligners? Yes. I mean, especially now that we're going more into a recession, I think there is. I think I would do things, and this is where I'm giving some free tips. I think I would do things differently if I was given the keys, if I was given the full power to come back to a Candid, a Byte, a SmileDirectClub and say, hey, you're the new clinical advisor. We're going to do exactly what you say. I would do things totally different than the way they're doing them. Yes, I would totally expand the partner networks. I think it's brilliant. I'm okay, I can't get into what we were doing, but I'm familiar with it. Let's just put it that way with the concept. It was definitely something that we were thinking about, 6 years ago and stuff, and collabing with dentists. And I think initially dentists don't want to collab with you, but then later, once they know the name, they do want to collab with you. And I think you could make it really, really cool, nifty, a great way to funnel patients, into your practice. I almost think of it like a shared space type of thing. Like, whether you got Turo or some of these other shared cars, shared this, you don't always have to own an expensive piece of equipment like an iTero. It would be very possible to really have one iTero, especially now that iTeros are mobile. Or another scanner, but a really cool scanner that's expensive. And you could say, hey, this dental office on Tuesdays is a scan shop for SmileDirectClub or whatever, and on Wednesdays is this dental office. And what a cool way for you to funnel your own patients in on a certain day, but also to get patients. It doesn't have to be there 5 days a week. That's what I would do personally. I think I'd have one expensive piece of equipment and move it around. And, obviously someone would have to move it. There's, some hiccups and bumps in that, but I think that would be a great way to get the most out of an expensive piece of equipment. And seriously, part of what I teach in my ortho consulting practice, Straightsmile Solutions, is we highly recommend, I usually say get an iTero just because there's the most variety in terms of what you can do with it. And we say scan every single patient in your office if they have teeth. If they have most of their teeth. And their teeth are mostly healthy, I'm saying most, but I don't care if they're 5, they're 50, they're 75, scan them. Why? Because it's free. The tips cost a few bucks, but you can always save it, put it in a tip library, and use it later. But the amount of starts you can get if you just do this. How many patients do you honestly have walk through your office every day? Even if they are just hygiene patients or they're new patients or they're recall patients, you probably have an average single dentist office probably has 10, 20, 30 a day bodies coming in and out of their office, with a couple ops, more if you have more ops. That's opportunities. So if you scan all of them every week, every month, that's hundreds of opportunities. And then all you do is educate your patient on the benefits for them, risk, benefits, and alternatives. So many things that you can do. I think you should totally check it out and start doing that. And oh my goodness, Siri is talking to me. Cancel Siri. I don't know how I started that. Okay. So I digress. What do I think is new? I think the partner network, expanding the partner networks is new. Also, I really, really, really think that DTC is going to go into little kiddos. Why? I would, if you handed me the keys to, and it doesn't have to be aligners necessarily. If you handed me the keys to one of these DTC practices, or if I was given couple billion in startup funds and they said start a new dental DTC company, I would go into littles. Why? Airway, littles, growth and development, arch expansion, mandibular advancement, not the Invisalign product, but you can do this with twin blocks and other stuff. Why? Because if you start with little kids, first of all, there is insurance money to be spent in most cases. Most people have insurance, dental insurance, and it's limited. But it's enough to cover phase 1. Usually it's $2,000, $2,500, $3,000, something like that. And if you had DTC prices, we could get it down, and maybe you'd have some left over for phase 2 if you needed it later. But for the most part, I have seen and done so many phase 1 cases. And when you start them early with removable appliances, all removables. And even some of these, you don't even have to have an impression or scan for. It would be very easy just to manually measure, with a little take-home ruler or something like that for some of these appliances, just to get the patient started early. Super easy. Little kiddos are crazy compliant. The health benefits are extraordinary to these kids. Airway benefits, learning benefits, nasal breathing benefits, grades go up. Legit bedwetting benefits. It would literally change lives. It wouldn't be that expensive if we get the prices down, because what frustrates me is that so few orthodontists are actively doing phase 1. I don't know why. Phase 1 ortho is the best ortho to do. It's the most fun to do. It's actually the most successful. You get great outcomes, great compliance, low lab fees for the most part. Almost all of phase 1, if you're not doing fixed, can be done by assistants fully. All you're doing is the treatment plan. The hands-on work is done by assistants. It's very profitable. Everyone's generally quite happy about it. It's just positive. And look at the issues that people are complaining about with DTC aligners, right? What is the number one thing critics are complaining about? Oh, perio. Oh, they had this. Oh, they had this infection. Well, guess what? This doesn't usually happen with kids. So if you're doing kids with healthy teeth, and I can tell by looking at a kid's pictures if their teeth are healthy. For the most part, I think I'd still want to have a pano, and this is why I love the idea of expanding the partner network first and then bringing this in, because there's funny things that show up, mesiodents and impacted canines, and you'd want to know, right? It changes things a little bit. I'd still want to do treatment, but you need to know so that they have an idea later. Certainly I wouldn't be doing some things if there was a mesiodents that would need to come out, and it's relatively common. Missing teeth, things like that. But you could do so much for society, help these kids out, really give them a head start on fixing their bites so that a really hard case will never even need to happen because you fix things early. What is phase 1 treatment? Phase 1 treatment is fixing bites, basically, growing jaws, basically, expanding jaws, basically. And occasionally we do some alignment on the front teeth, and that's where the DTC aligners could come in if you decide to do that. For the most part, it's usually cosmetic. Sometimes it's not. You could have a case where there's impacted canines and there's gapped out front teeth and we have to close the space. This is what happened on my daughter. You have to close the space from 2 to 2, 7 to 10 in order to have the most likelihood that those teeth will not be impacted for phase 2. But it's very successful with all removable appliances in phase 1, which is why we wouldn't need attachments. I did my daughter's teeth for phase 1 aligners with ClearCorrect. It wasn't even Invisalign because I hate Invisalign for attachmentless. I did it with ClearCorrect 4 years ago. They haven't even come out with that product. It worked great. Attachmentless aligners, no problem, just from a scan. No office visits at all, except for the scan. That was it. Just deliver, go, done. So that's what I think is going to be new in the next year or two. That's it. That if I had to predict, if I was smart and I was in a DTC company, that is the direction I'd go into. And I'm giving out my nuggets. I'm giving my freebies because clearly I know what I'm talking about. Am I interested in getting into that market? Nah, no thanks. I like to talk about it. I like to learn about it. I love to plan, but would I want to own one of these companies? No, thank you. A lot of liability, a lot of work. It's a lot that goes into setting this up. It's really, really fun though. So anyways, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I still think that they're going to happen. I don't think that SDC is going to go bankrupt at all. I mean, again, no insider information at all. I just don't. I think if they're smart, they will not, because there's so many ways they could pivot still. I see so many opportunities that are even easier. They've done the hard part already. Now, once they've established that partner network, they could go so many different directions with that partner network. And that's why I'm so incredibly bullish on it still. Y'all can all laugh and say they're going to go bankrupt. I don't think they will. So, and nobody is more confident in that than me. Just because I know that there are a bunch of brilliant minds there. I still know a lot of the people there, and they're not going to let that happen. They're too smart for that. So anyways, if you are SDC, as always, if you don't like what I posted, all you have to do is have your clinical director send me a nice email and ask me to take it down or retape it. You do not need to send me any nasty letters from your attorneys. I'm not like that. It's really cool. If you don't like something, I mean, to me, I thought this was a super positive piece on SDC. So if they were smart, they'd let me leave this up. If they want me to take it down, I take it down. No big deal. Didn't cost me anything to make this. All right. Thanks so much.